Straykids imagines when you are babysitting your niece, nephew, and your husband wants a kid. Bangchan. Babysitting their nephew for the weekend had felt harmless at first. A few diapers, warm milk, lullabies playing softly in the background. Yen hadn't expected. From the moment the baby arrived, Chan became attentive in the way that made her chest tighten. He read the instructions twice, sterilized the bottles perfectly. Yen watched from the kitchen doorway, her heart melting at the sight. That night, the baby refused to sleep unless he was being held. Chan sat on the couch, his shirt slightly wrinkled. You can put him down, she said softly. Chan shook his head. He needs a heartbeat. Her breath hissed. Hour later, when the baby finally slept in the crib, Chan, I didn't know it would feel like this, he admitted. Yen sat beside him, like what? Like my whole world is just shifted. He turned to her, their she swallowed, emotions heavy in her chest. I know the timing isn't perfect, Chan continued gently. I know it's scary, but tonight seeing you hold him. He crushed to Yen's cheek. I want late nights, he said. I want tiny cloths in our room. I want you half asleep, leaning on my shoulder. While her heart pounded as she smiled softly. You'd be an incredible father. Chan kissed her temple, her voice barely above a whisper. Only because you'd be. Han. Han groaned the moment their nephew started running around, wobbling on his tiny legs and squealing at everything he could see. Are you serious? Han muttered, trying. Yen laughed, ducking to avoid his playful glare. He's just excited. Come on, you've got this. Han crouched low, arms spread wide, ready to scoop him. He's so fast, Han muttered, a mix of awe and panic in his voice. That's 1 year old for you, Yen teased. The rest of the evening turned into pure chaos. You okay, buddy? Han whispered. The baby giggled, clutching Han's finger tightly, refusing to let go. Later, when the little boy finally fell asleep in Han's, you're amazing with him, she said softly. Han's chest rose and fell slowly, a faint smile pulling at his lips. I didn't know I could handle this. I would one, Han continued, his eyes locked with hers, a little chaos like this, but ours, tiny hands pulling me around, little giggles waking me up. Han leaned closer, resting his forehead against hers. I don't care if it's hard, messy, or if I'm completely sleep deprived, Han whispered. I want. He pressed a tender kiss to her temple, then murmured, I want all of it with you. Yan held him close, knowing deep in her heart, with Han iron. Their little niece toddled toward Jeongin on wobbling legs, tiny hands stretched out as if the whole world belonged to her. She was barely a year old. Jeongin froze, eyes widening as she approached. Oh, okay, he whispered, crouching down with his arms open. Come here, come to me. She's so small, he murmured softly, gently brushing her hair back with careful fingers. Yen leaned against the doorway, her heart melting at the sight. She likes you. Jongin's eyes twinkled as a nervous grin spread across his face. Yeah, he said quietly. I like her too, a lot. Rest of the afternoon passed. Every time she tripped or fell, he was there instantly, scooping her up and pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead. Eventually, she grew sleepy and she's amazing, Jongens whispered, dancing again. I never realized how much I could care about someone else's little life. It's overwhelming. Jongen leaned closer, his forehead resting against hers. I want this, he whispered, not just her, but us. A little chaos like this, a little warm. He pressed a tender kiss to her temple, lingering close. I don't care about the hard parts or the sleepless nights, he murmured. I just want you. I want this. You'd be the sweetest father, she whispered. Jongin laughed softly, nuzzling closer to her. Only if you're the mother, he replied, his voice full of certainty. Changbin. Hyunjin carried the diaper bag like it was gym equipment, listed feeding times in his phone, and proudly announced that he had everything under control before the first diaper change humbled him. Why is he this small? Changbin muttered, his hands trembling slightly. What if I do it wrong? But once the baby settled, something in Changbin softened. He sat on the floor with his legs crossed, making silly faces, his deep voice turning unexpectedly gentle. Later, when the baby cried uncontrollably, Changbin panicked again until Yen gently guided his arm around the tiny body. The moment the Yen watched as his breathing slowed, his hand instinctively supporting the baby's back, his usual loud, explosive energy quieted, replaced by something steady. That night, after the nephew finally fell asleep, Changmin sat beside Yen on the bed, his shoulders slumped with exhaustion. He stared at his hands for a long moment. Yen leaned closer, and now I feel strong. He looked at her, his eyes sincere, not muscle strong, heart strong. Her chest tightened. When he cried, I didn't want to run. Changmin continued. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to be enough. A nervous smile crossed his face. It scared me. He squeezed her fingers, his thumb brushing gently over her skin. I kept imagining you, he admitted quietly, holding our baby, laughing, being tired. I want to build something with you, Changbin said. A family, a little chaos, a lot of love. Changbin leaned in, resting his forehead against hers. I promise. Yen smiled, her heart full. You already do. He kissed her softly, letting the moment linger. Then let's make a kid together. Lino. Lino made it clear from the beginning that he wasn't excited. It's just babysitting, he said flatly, watching Yen place their nephew's bag near the couch. Yen rolled her eyes, but an hour later, something shifted. Their nephew wouldn't stop crying. Yen tried rocking him, walking around the room. Give him here, he muttered. The moment the baby settled into Lino's arm, the crying faded into quiet sniffles. Lino froze, clearly not expecting. Don't get used to this, he warned the baby in a low voice. Yen stared at him. Minho. He shot her a look, but he stopped crying. For the rest of the evening, their Nino placed the living room with steady steps, one hand supporting the tiny bag, the other resting protectively over the baby's head. His movements were careful, natural. You look comfortable, Yen teased. Don't, he said quietly. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like this means something. Later that night, after they tucked their nephew into the crib, Linos followed Yen into the bedroom without a word. He locked the door behind them, then leaned against. Yen's heart skipped. What's failing this? He stepped closer, his hand settling on her waist. When he held my fingers, I didn't want to let go. Yen swallowed. Minho, I don't want to babysit someone else's kid anymore. He murmured, resting his forehead against hers. I want ours. Her breath. I want you tired and annoyed at me, he continued softly. I want midnight argument about diapers. I want to come home to something that belongs to us. And I don't share what's mine. Yen's pulse raised as she smiled. Neither do I. Seungmin. Seungmin adjusted his glasses for what felt like the 10th time that evening, his eyes fixed nervously on the baby monitor. Their 4-month-old nephew. You're overthinking, Yen teased gently, leaning against the doorframe. I'm not. Seungmin's reply, his voice low but tense. I just want to do this right. Seungmin's gaze softened as he looked at the tiny life in front of him. He's so small, he whispered almost to himself, so delicate. When the baby started, Seungmin instinctively knelt beside the bassinet and lifted him carefully into his arm. The little one rested his head. He trusts you, Yen murmured, smiling. Songmin looked up at her, a shy smile forming. I want to keep him safe, always. He let out a quiet laugh, his eyes meeting hers. I didn't think I'd feel like this, he admitted softly. Holding him, it makes me think about the future. Jongin reached for her hand, his thumb brushing gently over her knuckle. As he said, you and me raising a child together. I want to come home to late night. Jeongin leaned closer, resting his forehead against hers. I want to hear them call you Mama, he whispered. I want to teach them, protect them, love them. I want all of Yen lifted her hand, brushing her fingers against his cheek. You'd be the most amazing father. Seungmin smiled softly, holding her closer only if you are the mother. And in that quiet apartment with the steady rhythm of their nephew's breathing between them, Yen realized their little life already felt complete. Hyunjin, their niece was small, warm, and curious, nothing like the chaos Hyunjin had imagined babysitting would be. She sat on the floor, surrounded by crayons, her tongue peeking. Hyunjin knelt beside her, watching quietly. She's concentrating, he murmured, his voice soft as if he were afraid of breaking the moment. He glanced at her briefly, then back at their knees. Carefully, he picked up a crayon and gently guided her tiny fingers. Like this, he whispered, slow. Yen. Later that evening, their niece refused to sleep unless Hyunjin stayed beside her. He lay on the floor next to her small mattress, one arm stretched out so she could. Even after she finally drifted off, he stayed there, his eyes fixed on her peaceful face. Yen sat beside him, resting her head against his shoulder. She feels like a poem. Yen blinked. A poem? She's gentle, honest, he replied softly, a faint smile on his lips. She doesn't pretend. After they tucked their knees, tonight scared me, he admitted. Why? Yen asked gently. Because I imagine too much. His grip tightened slightly. I imagine you holding our daughter. I imagine. Yen's breath hitched. I want to paint that future, Hyunjin whispered. Messy, imperfect, real, with you. Yen turned to face him. Hyunjin, I know it won't be easy, he said softly, but loving you has never been easy either. His eyes softened, and it's still the most beautiful thing I know. His hand slid up when he pulled back, his forehead resting against hers. One day, Hyunjin murmured with a small smile, I want to hear her call you Mama. Yen's eyes softened. Hyunjin laughed quietly, pulling her closer, already holding the future in his heart. Felix. Felix grinned the moment their knees toddled toward him, her wobbly legs carrying her forward with a tiny squeal that instantly melted his heart. She giggled and stumbled straight into him, wrapping her small arms around his neck. Felix froze for a second, feeling her warmth and trust before his entire expression softened. You're so fast, he murmured, gently bouncing her. I don't know if I can keep up with you. Yen laughed from the kitchen doorway. She's full of energy today. Felix's eyes crinkled as he carefully set her back on the floor, staying close as she took a few unsteady steps, ready to catch her. The rest of the evening passed in playful chaos. Felix chased her around the living room, laughing so freely it made Yen's heart ache every time. Eventually, when she grew sleepy, Felix settled onto the couch with her head close, rocking her gently. Her small head rested against his shoulder, warm and soft. Felix Yen's breath caught. Felix brushed his hand over hers and leaned in, resting his forehead against her. I want this with you, he whispered, all the time. A soft smile curved Yen's lip. You'd be an amazing father. Felix chuckled softly, his eyes sparkling. Only if you are the mother, he murmured, pressing a tender kiss to her cheek. Felix wrapped his arms around Yen, his embrace gentle yet protective. I don't care if it's chaotic, he said earnestly. I wanted us together. Yen held him close, her heart full, and in that quiet apartment with the steady rhythm of their knees breathing between them, she knew Felix already held her whole heart. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.